On the internet, people lie all the time. But what happens when somebody lying for clout goes a little too far? Let's delve into the situation of an artist trying to garner some clout and everyone expose them. And again, don't send hate to any parties involved. So this all kicks off with this trend that was circulating around Twitter. That was post your old art and your new art and show your evolution in drawing. The comment section is full of a lot of really cool and really talented artists showing their upgrades and artwork, and one person wanted to join in on the trend. It was this artist by the name of Velucia, and Velucia advertises themselves as a dark fantasy artist illustration with original music. They show their 2022, which is a really, really beginner drawing. But got a lot of vibe to it. It is a character with black hair with some black ears kind of laying flat. They're sticking their tongue out and they have their eyes scribbled out. And in just 4 years, in 2026, this is their 2026 artwork. 2022, 2026. Artists improve at different skill levels, but this is a really massive jump in skill level. A lot of people were flabbergasted. They were like, wow, this is so cool. Teach me your ways. How did you improve so fast? People leaving comments like, did you perhaps make a deal with the devil 4 years ago? They said that might have been the case. Another person said, has your brain been messed with by aliens over these past 4 years? They said, those are very painful days. But then somebody else made a post, quote retweeting it saying, for anybody wondering how they improved so quickly, they didn't. This is not their art. The real artist is Rexpo on Instagram. Go and support the real artist. This is Rexpo's Instagram, an example of their work. And as you can see, the style is absolutely in line with Rexpo's artwork, and their artwork is jaw-droppingly stunning. This is gorgeous. They use a lot of really bold colors, a lot of blacks, bright reds, and bright blues, featuring a lot of characters with long lashes. That looks exactly in line with Velucia's work. Now again, maybe it is a case of an artist being inspired by another popular artist and therefore, kind of mimicking their styles in some ways. But this rapid of a jump in not only the style looking really similar to Rexpo's style, but also a jump in art improvement so massive people think you made a deal with the devil is very, very hard to find. On top of that, another artist by the name of Hyde Angelus leaves a comment saying, I actually think they might have used both Rex's work and my piece. This was just brought to my attention. And here we see the side by side, where on the right we have Hyde's work. Again, really stunning piece featuring bright blues, blacks, and reds of a character kind of putting their hand against their face looking down. The pose is the exact same as the artwork that artist posted. Now again, no artist owns a pose. You can be inspired by a pose, etc. And Hyde is not claiming they own the pose by any means, but things are starting to now look a little suspicious because there are elements to this art piece that look a little bit too similar. The lips look really similar. And the way that this artist improves so rapidly and the way their art so similarly mimics another artist's art style on top of this artist's work is starting to feel a little suspicious. And OP says, that is so sad. I am so sorry. Your art is very beautiful, by the way, very inspiring. And the artist responds, I felt very bad all night and couldn't sleep. They lied to me repeatedly, but I've looked at it for hours and it's clearly stolen from my piece. I'm heartbroken because they removed features to make it more acceptable. I'm thankful for you and others that pointed it out. Thank you. Hug. And yeah, I can totally empathize because that is absolutely so frustrating, especially like the feeling of being potentially gaslit, people telling you, oh, it's not the same, or like, it's just a similar pose. And you look at it and you're like, I see a lot of elements of my own work. I had a brand take my voice and feed it to AI. And like, I was like very certain they did it. But also there's like that little sliver because they denied it. They said they didn't. It feels very violating because I'm like, I hear what I hear. And I know you said you didn't do that, but why does it sound exactly like me? Like, I know how I sound like, and I know what I heard, and it just feels really icky because it feels like somebody else is wearing your skin, and this is like the same thing. The artist in question, Velucia, went and made a few posts on their page about the situation. So in the replies of their post, Velucia went and actually posted a speed paint of them drawing this piece. So here we can see the speed paint in question where they start sketching and drawing, and then they go in with some more fine sketches. So here is them doing the sketching process again. People felt some type of way about the way they were sketching and the way the lines were drawn. They felt like the confidence that was used in this piece does not match that of somebody who could create the final product. The second thing people pointed out was the fact that this person, once again, knows exactly where everything goes. This is a very abstract piece where there is like a person's face, but there's a lot of abstract elements featured in the background, including stars, spikes, jewels, hair highlights coming off of the head, etc. These are elements that probably require a lot of thought, a lot of like sketching, undoing, resizing, etc. But there was no resizing, modifications, or changing of the mind in this process. As you can see, the way they draw, they know exactly where everything goes. And again, there are some artists who will one shot a piece, immediately know where it goes and be like, I'm done, but this is already an artist that has some suspicions floating around them due to the fact that they have jumped massively in art improvement in only 4 years. But also with a piece like this, I would imagine you would do some sort of explorative, like sketching, etc. Let's try this, let's try that before we arrive at the final piece. What are the odds you one shot the final piece? And the third thing that people pointed out was this. Because if you look at the rest of the sketching, again, people pointed out that the sketching felt a bit amateurish in terms of the lines, the way the lines were drawn, etc. But look at the way the sketch was drawn versus right here by the eye. They draw this like curvature with the circles in it. And people felt this looked so odd, as in it looks way more amateur again, way more janky and beginner than the rest of the flow of the piece and the composition. The composition of the piece looks so good. Well, because it's allegedly traced off of other work or traced off an AI generated piece, right? To fake the speed paint. But secondly, why is the sketching for this so janky? Like that type of sketching created this? And another user quote retweets it writing, "You can't fool artists. You have the strokes of a beginner. Your lines are not mature, sketchy, and uneven, paired with the fact that you have a very odd way of composing every structure as if you already knew they're supposed to go there without any skeletons." They add some more thoughts in reply to somebody who wasn't sure. So they have the generative AI trace where they traced over the piece, right? To like show the body pose. And then the sketch that was provided, where it says the Gen AI art maintained a silhouette and a solid shape stolen from the talented artists, Rex and Hides. Velucia is unable to capture the shape and consistency of the end product despite claiming to render this. This makes the tracing claim even funnier to comprehend. Velucia cannot trace the shape correctly. Secondly, the lines mostly don't seem to connect anywhere. You can't make out a shape of any of the characters' anatomy. The bases are non-existent. The sketch appears sharper, uneven, unstable, and unconfident. It doesn't match the end product structure and solidarity at all. Another person adds, "I want to post this again just because they've now deleted all of their old work, but this is what their work used to look like." So this is artwork that they posted to their page January 6th. Where they're drawing, and it's a very anime style, completely different from that piece. And OP says, "It's a shame because I thought this looked really cute. It looks like we lost another growing artist to the dark side." And OP says, "This is perfectly fine. I don't understand the rush to perfection." Another person showed the screenshot of that curvature by the eye with the holes that I was talking about and how wonky it looks. And they were like, they can't be serious. And OP says, "Same, LMFAO." Another user says, "Ooh, I see what you mean. It's like every line had a home without a need for a redo. If that were me, I would be drawing those lines at least 5 times over each." And another person said, "I'm getting self-conscious about my lines. The weirder thing is, not one time they erased and retried. Sometimes there are people who raw dog line art like this. And yeah, there are people who can, but then it's not the only piece of art they've ever uploaded." And OP says, "People who raw dog line art would need skills to get really good results through their lines alone. I've seen people who have done it, and they absolutely know how to nail it down. This person, however, seems lost." And yeah, again, I just want to reemphasize, if you draw that way specifically, that's totally fine. There are, again, people one-shot the line art straight out the gate. This person already had other suspicions. The massive improvement, their style looking so similar to Rex's and lining up so similarly with Hyde's piece, alongside very little artwork on their page, and it's now been removed. But the artwork they did have was in a vastly different style. They had like no pieces in this specific style. So all of that already is looking like a massive red flag. And then on top of this, showing the speed paints where they already know where everything goes, but with like more amateurish lines than what was being shown in the final product. All of that together looks odd. So to their page, Velucia writes, "I'm truly shocked by the sudden events and have received a strong impact. To avoid any misunderstandings, I will carefully organize everything and face my work going forward. At present, abusive and aggressive language is increasing, so I will restrict replies." They write, "I am an artist. I have long opposed AI-generated artwork. Every piece I create is drawn by hand. I never plagiarize. I respect every artist. That is why I stake my skill and pride on this statement. My artwork is original. I declare this without hesitation. Velucia." And they add, "You're the ones who are wrong. trying to crush me with overwhelming numbers and vague misunderstandings. I already know nothing I say will get through to you anymore. That is why I'll move forward without being held back by you. So, what are your thoughts for this whole situation? That is the end of it. But it really reads like somebody was trying to get some social media clout and get a viral hit tweet. And in the end, everybody caught them for what it really was. Send love to the artists that were affected, Rex and Hyde. I'll have them linked down below. It absolutely sucks to have your work plagiarized, allegedly, and show them the love that they deserve. If you like this video, I appreciate it if you like and subscribe. Don't forget to check me out on Etsy. I have digital art there for streamers and creators. I also have a coffee with some free resources if you're a content creator. And I have some merch that I'm working on. It will be a little bit delayed because my grandma's ill, so I'll be going back to see her. Hopefully I can release it in like mid-July. That's what I'm hoping for. But yeah, I hope to catch you guys in my streams. I stream Monday and Saturdays at 6 p.m. PST and Thursdays at 7:30 p.m. PST. So I hope to catch you all there in my streams or in another one of my videos. Peace.